I've been reading this book called Morality by Jonathan Sachs. I just wanted to start with the very first sentence of this book. I'm enjoying this book. I suggest it. Very good read. So the first line is relevant to what I'm gonna talk about today. Is a free society is a moral achievement. Call it a law of impermanence if you want, but every great civilization, every empire fell. Romans, Mongols, the British. Now let me ask you a question. Name a country or alliance of countries that can militarily bring down the United States. China, Russia, Iran, not even close. So how do you bring down the United States, the greatest power ever to exist in human history? In this video, let's find out. Have you ever seen the movie Troy? Brad Pitt, Eric Bana, Orlando Bloom, Diane Kruger. Absolute classic. I love that movie. The Greeks could not overpower Troy's massive, impenetrable walls. Not even warriors like Achilles could break through. Then Odysseus, Sean Bean's character, came up with a plan. The Trojan horse. America is like that golden city of Troy. There is no foreign power capable of breaching America's fortress of solitude. No military can storm its walls. Unless you have enemies inside those walls. Trojan horse. You infiltrate US institutions and government agencies, especially in civil rights, counterterrorism, immigration, or even in cultural battlegrounds where narratives are being shaped. You enter through advisory or civil service roles across federal, state, and local levels. Then you influence policies. You change legislative definitions. You downplay threats tied to your own ideology. The strongest is also the most hated, and no doubt America made lots of enemies. So you are not working alone. You create networks or you join existing ones. With that network, you move deeper into America's legal and civil rights infrastructure. You appropriate the identity of major socio-religious and political groups. You demonize and denigrate existing US frameworks, and then you offer alternatives. Parallel financial systems, arbitration mechanisms, and community legal services like a parasite while living inside the host, eating it from inside. But infiltration doesn't stop at the government level. America also has independent institutions, religious centers, college campuses, community groups, social service networks. These become fertile ground for ideological expansion and indoctrination. You fund academics from foreign actors to produce scholarships, weekend programs, separate schools, hotcake, bandwagon political activism. Sounds familiar? Identity-based sectarian politics, selective historical narratives. All tools for subtle recruitment and indoctrination. With such a well-oiled, coordinated ecosystem, imagine the influence. A small country like Bangladesh can be easily flipped with such networks. America is larger, so maybe it will take 100 years or so to destabilize the society from within. And then there's media. In school, we learned media is the mirror of a nation. But today, with social media, influencers simply do not reflect reality. They shape it. Control the narrative, and you control the public opinion. You shape the discourse.
Do you like communism in America?
I think that communism would be most likely an international. I don't call myself a communist. I don't have an issue with an end goal of communism.
You will always find ideological sympathizers, especially among groups that feel marginalized or oppressed, or worse, the oblivious or self-serving ones. You take advantage and merge with them. You amplify their grievances. You leverage identity politics, progressive alliances, anti-imperialism, minority rights, social justice narratives, anything that builds coalitions and widens your influence under the noble banner of civil rights. This is how you create your horde of ideological Trojan horses inside America's walls. Last week, President Trump used executive power to designate Muslim Brotherhood as terrorist organization or Foreign Terrorist Organization (FTO). Before that, in Texas, Governor Greg Abbott banned the group from operating in the state. Senator Ted Cruz has long pushed for the same, and this comes just days after the Institute for the Study of Global Anti-Semitism and Policy released a damning report about the Brotherhood's alleged 100-year plan to erode American democracy from within.
Especially in the West today are radical groups like the Muslim Brotherhood, and they are doing this as part of their identity politics game that gives them legitimacy and allow them also to weaponize the voices of Muslims to destroy America's democracy and freedom.
America's military budget is larger than the next several nations combined. You cannot bring America down through conventional warfare, not with bombs, bullets. The walls of America are stronger than any artillery ever created, but America's streets, its civil society, its college campuses, its legal and political institutions, they are vulnerable to what experts call asymmetric warfare, not physical warfare, ideological warfare, long-term penetration from within. In his influential classic, The Open Society and Its Enemies, philosopher Karl Popper introduced the idea of paradox of tolerance. A tolerant society cannot tolerate those who preach intolerance against freedom and rational criticism. Popper warned that open societies allow intolerant groups to organize, and those groups in turn use that freedom to destroy the very foundation that allowed their rise. This is the same warning America and the free world face today. The free world must protect universal freedom and basic human rights and reject any totalitarian, theocratic world order that seeks to replace them. I have been critical of many of President Trump's issues, immigration, tariffs, but call it a broken clock. But first, Trump is right when it comes to calling Biden's haphazard Afghan pullout the biggest foreign policy disaster.
And civilians, more than 6,000 of them Americans, out of Afghanistan before the August 31st, 2021 troop withdrawal deadline, but not before the tragedy at Karzai Airport's Abbey Gate, where a suicide bomber killed 13 U.S. military personnel.
Second, Trump is also right banning the Muslim Brotherhood like several other Western countries, France, UK, Austria, consider the same. Even some Middle Eastern countries banned the organization. But simply banning is not the solution because these outfits can mushroom, morph, and then the whole system starts from the beginning. Reverse psychology of forbidden fruit. Extremist ideologies must be confronted with unapologetic, open criticism, no political correctness, no virtue signaling to hide behind. It does no good in the long run. Just look at the UK. Nearly a quarter of second and third generation of British Muslims support theocratic Sharia in Britain. That's 1 in 4. Thousands of children were systematically raped for decades by British Pakistani gangs, right under the nose of authorities who hesitated to act for fear of backlash and vote bank identity politics. And look at this. 2 Tower Hamlet councillors in London are seeking to contest in Bangladesh's general election. How is this not exploitation of the UK political system?
And let me say this in English so you can understand what I'm saying. No, I know you have translation, but I just want to make sure you get it right. There will come a day that we will see far more radical extremists and terrorists coming out of Europe because of the lack of decision-making, trying to be politically correct, or assuming that they know the Middle East and they know Islam and they know the others far better than we do. And I'm sorry, but that's pure ignorance.
Professor David Bates from Department of War Studies in the King's College London, in his alarming paper, blames the very same eroded social cohesion, asymmetric multiculturalism with zero integration, and rise of identity politics and polarization, weakening of institutional legitimacy, which are now visible in the US.
America is the cancer. America, the American government, secularism, democracy, capitalism. These are cancers that have spread their illness all over the world, in America and in the Middle East. Non-Muslims are tired of this cancer. They're tired of the American government. They're tired of democracy. They want to see a new way of life. And as Muslims, we have to understand that we have that new way of life. Rasulullah ﷺ was sent as a mercy for all of mankind. He was sent as a mercy. Why? Because the way of life he brought will bring that mercy. The way of life he brought will bring that tranquility to Muslims and non-Muslims. Non-Muslims don't have to worry about these issues they worry about now. They don't have to, because Islam is a just religion that has come to be implemented upon society.
Unfortunately, these days we don't repeat this enough, or we don't have this aqidah concept firm in our minds that Islam did not come to coexist. Islam is Islam لا يعلى. Islam يعلو ولا يعلى عليه. Islam is raised high and nothing is raised above Islam. We can't think of Islam that came to live with these other religions in the sense that Islam is a religion amongst those religions and they have a share with the truth. And they have a share of justice. And they have a share of, this worship of Allah, the correct worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Islam came to correct all of that. Islam came to remove the oppression of all those religions, and it is the only truth, and it is the only way to justice.
Matter of fact, the offensive jihad that we know, as the Prophet ﷺ says, it is the highest beacon of Islam.
This is what Islam demands. You want to be a true believer, this is what it takes. This is the test that the Sahaba passed on many occasions, right? They passed this test when the call for jihad was called, and they sacrificed everything. Their money, their lives, they left their family behind in order to go fight to make the word of Allah supreme.
Applied in all aspects of life to all people of this earth. And in order to do that, we need to strive to have an Islamic state and do so. A state that doesn't follow the hukm applied by democracy and capitalism.
There can never be a permanent treaty with the kuffar because it cancels out jihad. If it doesn't have a deadline, it can't be lazimatut ta'bid, meaning it can't be forever. Yes, the treaty may not mention 10 years or 4 months or 5 years. It's open-ended, but that doesn't mean it's forever. It can't be forever. When Muslims get stronger and it's a benefit for the Muslims, they inform the enemy, this treaty has come to an end.
Of course, we should have a goal to unify under a khilafah. I think we're already seeing the beginnings of it, and that's a good thing. But Muslims should be ready and should actually help the process of replacing it with the correct system.
Saw this happen in Bangladesh, did we not? The young people rise up. And the thing is that there are actually not enough soldiers in the United States of America, not enough riot cops, not enough police to get the young people back under control.
First move that I will do, I will abolish the constitution and I will establish the only logical and rational constitution, which is the Quran and the Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Dismantle the American empire, right? That our aim is to dismantle that empire. Never let your enemy tell you how many of you there are.
An Afghan national now facing terroristic threat charges after he posted a video saying he was building a bomb with Fort Worth, Texas.
Identified the suspect as Mohammed Dawood Alakoze. DHS says he's accused of posting a video of himself on TikTok indicating he was building a bomb.
Wednesday, following the deadly New Year's attack, at least 14 killed, dozens injured. Investigators say 42-year-old Shamsuddin Jabbar plowed into the crowded street in this rented pickup truck, then got out and shot at police, injuring 2 officers. The FBI confirmed an ISIS flag flew from the rented truck Jabbar used. Now we're learning the attacker also posted videos declaring his support for ISIS.
In the first video, Jabbar explains he originally planned to harm his family and friends, but was concerned the news headlines would not focus on the, quote, war between the believers and the disbelievers, end quote.
The horde of Trojan horses is already at work, as one of my favorite intellectual, Christopher Hitchens, warned.
And sabotage and intimidation. In other words, ladies and gentlemen, the barbarians are not at the gate. They're not at the gate. They're well inside. And who held open the door for them? The other religious did. Same with Salman Rushdie. When the Ayatollah Khomeini offered money publicly in his own name, without shame, for suborning of murder of a novelist who wasn't an Iranian, who lived in England. A pretty radical attack on what we think we live by, what our Constitution stands for.
America is the greatest experiment of open, free society human ever conducted. This experiment must not fail at any cost. Thank you for watching. If you found this video valuable, feel free to comment, share, and subscribe. I will see you in the next one.